Guys, Marvel Fan 45 here, and today we'll be reviewing Prisoners of Ghostland, released in 2021, directed by Sion Sono, and starring Nicolas Cage and Sofia Boutella. The film follows Nick Cage, who is a prisoner, and he needs to go find the governor's daughter in Ghostland. And yeah, that's about all the plot I can tell you. So, if you know me, you know I enjoy Sion Sono's films. The biggest example I can give is probably Guilty of Romance, Why Don't You Play in Hell, or Tag. But he's made a lot of other stuff I still haven't seen, so I'm not fully familiar with his works, but I am somewhat familiar. So, I was looking forward to this all year because it was Nicolas Cage and Sion Sono, two of the craziest people in movies right now, making a movie together. And I'm left disappointed in the end because this is just sort of like a normal action blockbuster with a few crazy moments. Like, it's sort of like, Bong Joon-ho's Snowpiercer, where I thought it was pretty good and it had some good moments, but it really wasn't that great. Like, there's a moment involving an explosion on a specific part of Nick Cage's body that is hilarious, and I actually, laughed out loud to. But there really isn't much else here. Like, there's a few cool action scenes, some okay visuals. The set design and costume design are great. Everything else is fine. Like, this isn't Sono at his craziest. Like, a film like Tag is a good example, where that film was just completely bonkers. This film was just, toned down, watered down, contained, all the words you could say for that. Like, there just isn't much here. Like, Sono can do better. Like, again, Why Don't You Play in Hell, literally this decade. Guilty of Romance, also this decade. And Tag, also this decade. But this film has none of the charm, none of the craziness. And here's my biggest shock. There wasn't really that much gore. Like, without spoiling it, the final scene in Why Don't You Play in Hell with the final battle, again, without spoiling anything, that is one of the goriest scenes that I've seen this decade. Like, blood is flying everywhere. 2 people, not 1, 2 people get decapitated. It's hilarious too. But and then, Tag is another good example. Like, the scene at the wedding where the main character literally pulls out a sword. No, the main character's friend pulls out a sword and just starts slicing up people for no reason. It's pretty funny. But this film doesn't have any of that. It's just sort of monotone Nick Cage. This was really disappointing. Nick Cage was so monotone and contained in this that, it didn't even feel like he was Nick Cage. You could have replaced him with, Gerard Butler or, Bruce Willis in the modern day. And it wouldn't change anything. There's only a single scene where I could say that Nick Cage was, there, in the movie, doing stuff. For the rest of it, he's just sort of the monotone, lifeless, cliche action hero. And this is painful for me to say, because I'm a huge fan of Sono. And honestly, I'm not going to end this video on a negative note. I think this movie is fine, it just could be so much better. Visually, there are a few scenes where it's stunning. There's one great acting scene with Nicolas Cage. Sofia Boutella's there. That's the best I can say. Go watch Gaspar Noé's Climax with Sofia Boutella, and then you'll get more of a sense of her as an actress, which, speaking of, I need to rewatch Climax soon. Actually, I'll probably have a re-review for Climax if I rewatch it, because I want to see if my opinions change on it or not. But this is a disappointment, but I'm not going to end it by saying that. This movie is like a solid 6.5 or 6 out of 10 at best. It's pretty good. However, I don't want to end it on a negative note. So, instead, I'm just going to end it by saying, go watch Tag, Guilty of Romance, or Why Don't You Play in Hell. Those are well worth your time. Guilty of Romance used to be in my top 10. That's how good it is. Why Don't You Play in Hell used to be like my favorite movie like a while ago, and I used to watch it on repeat. And then Tag's just completely off the wall. Go watch Tag, actually. I believe there's an unsubbed version on YouTube. Go watch it. Without subs, it'll make it even better. But yeah, go check out Sono's other stuff. Like, this is... it pains me to say this, but this is like toned down nothingness Sono. Like, we can do better than this. I would rewatch it, honestly. I would happily rewatch it, because it's still better than like half the stuff that's come out this year, unironically. But like, Sono can do so much better. Like, if you've seen films from him, you know he can do much better than this, even on a visual standpoint. Like, this looks like it was produced by Amazon. That gives you an idea of how it looks. There's one cool scene with a nuclear bomb, which I won't spoil, which is great. But yeah, it's fine. Go watch Tag, Why Don't You Play in Hell, Guilty of Romance, and Love Exposure, which I haven't seen yet. I'm going to watch it soon. Go watch those instead. This really isn't worth your time. Go watch like No Time to Die or something if you want to watch a 2021 movie. This just isn't worth your time. So yeah, stay safe and have a good day. Oh, sorry, my camera